Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. We have bellied up to the bar today. We're going to have a little bit. This is a show before a week off. I know this is going to be strange for everyone. We don't normally take weeks off around here, but we're going to be taking next week off. I'm going to go on vacation, so we'll drop a little bit of extra. But to make sure that you were completely prepared with just a plethora of information and things to work with. As you all know, I love to talk to other Marines. So why not just fill your heads full of other, and we're probably never going to get a chance to talk to him about what he's here to talk about, but we're going to do our best to see how far we get to it. So joining us all the way from the most closest place to desolate that I've ever been to is in between Denver, Colorado, and Kansas. So joining us all the way from out that way, it's another Marine, the founder and CEO of Tarvent Marketing. It's Mr. Jason Johnson. Yay. There it goes. I don't know if my clapping ever gets through to anyone. Did you hear the clapping?
I didn't hear the clapping, but I hear it in my head, so I'm all good.
Oh, Miss Stacy joined me for a minute. But yeah, I hear it. So we're going to be talking about email marketing. Does it still work? Like, is it still a viable option for anything from small businesses to large businesses? And I'll throw this out, put it out there now. If, as we're going through all this, if it does sound interesting to you and you want to know more, you can go to Tarvent, TARVENT.com. And if you put in there Above the Bar, you're going to get 30% off for your first 3 months with them. So make sure you're checking that out. But let's go ahead and get some house cleaning done, as we always need to around here. As always, folks, over my right shoulder is the big board for Sticker and a Cause. If you got something you support, something you believe in, something you want other people to know about, you can reach out to us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Heck, if you can find me at the corner store, if you can. You tell me where it is. Our email is theabovethebarpodcast@gmail.com. Our website is theabovethebarpodcast.com. Reach out. Let me know what you got going on. I'll tell you where to send that sticker to. You fire me out a sticker. We read about it. We put it up on the big board so everyone can know about what you got going on. Then we got to talk about the people that pay the bills around here. That's Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Hudson and Cooksaki in Schoharie, New York. North America's largest custom window treatment company. They handle everything from blinds, shades, shutters, drapery, window tint, you name it, they've got it, and all at custom prices. Matter of fact, you ready for this, Jason? I'm gonna tell you a little something.
I'm waiting. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I can tell that you're on the edge. You're edging. I can tell. What's really interesting is most of their window treatments come with some form of a no questions asked guarantee on the shade. That means if the cat tears them up, you spill a little bourbon on there, doesn't matter what happens to it. You can pick up the phone and give them a call. Call up some of your big box stores that are around and say, "Hey, my kid drew on my shade. Would you go ahead and give me a new one?" They'll be like, "Sure, we'll give you a new one when you buy it." Your local Budget Blinds, they're just going to turn around and tell you, "Sure, you bought it from us. We'll go ahead and take good care of you. We'll make sure that we get you out a new shade." So that's Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Hudson and Cooksaki and Schoharie. And as always, folks, if you tell them that you're there to belly up to the bar, whatever sale they got going on, they're going to give you another 5% off of your order. All right, Jason, all the house cleaning's done. It's all taken care of.
Pretty good house cleaning.
I mean, I listen, and it's not even Thursday, so we're not even doing field day.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Kind of makes me want to go out and buy some blinds.
Doesn't listen. You must be doing okay. You didn't have a PTSD moment where you started scratching your neck when I said field day, so you're doing all right.
No, I heard you were a recruiter in the Marines.
12 of my 20 years, yeah, I did the devil's work.
Yeah. So,
how about yourself? What did you do?
I was avionics, did ComNav and IFF, identification friend or foe for bunch of different helicopters, jets, cargo planes.
So you were second echelon.
What's that?
Were you second echelon maintenance?
No. I was over at Mouse 24 in Hawaii. I asked for
Okay.
East Coast, and they gave me East Coast of Hawaii.
So I was a 6323 avionics on 53s.
Okay.
And what year did you go to boot camp? We're both a couple old folks.
89.
Okay, so you were there before me. I'll tell you a funny story before we get into too much into the show. Look, folks, these are things that as Marines we appreciate. So the one thing I will never do is I'll ask somebody like, "Hey, what years were you in?" I used to work for the railroad. I'll never forget this. I'm sitting there. I was a conductor, and a guy I knew named Brian walks in. He was another Marine, and I'm just sitting there, and he started talking shit like about nothing in particular. Did I lose you?
Yeah,
Same
I
problems
think
again.
it lost. Yeah, I think we're back now. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, upstairs, please. Been having some internet issues. I may have to do some creative interneting here in a second. I don't know what's going on.
Just looking to see if it was maybe on my side.
No, I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, my internet has just. I think I have the Eero system, and I think something's going on with it.
Oh yeah.
But what I was gonna say is like, so the guy turns around, he calls me a boot, and I'm like, "You called me a boot?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What year'd you go in?" And he's like, "1996." I'm like, "Well, look, boot." Like I
Yeah.
went or like that would be like me being like, "Oh, what year did you go in, boot?" Like you went in '89. Like you were already home on your couch by the time I got in.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't even make my full tour. So I was supposed to be in 5 years. I made it 3.5.
Oh,
So yeah,
well,
tore both my shoulders apart in combat training right after boot camp, and decided not to tell anybody because I had a big mouth. I got in trouble every day of boot camp. I had a great time, but I just got a lot of trouble. So after that, I tore my shoulders apart and decided, pain's no big deal. That just lets you know you're alive. So I didn't tell anybody for another 3 years. So I went through combat training and all sorts of stuff with my shoulders being able to dislocate whenever I wanted to. So, but hey, I have high pain tolerance, so it's all good.
well, you definitely proved it with that. And that kind of brings us into your situation. So, how old were you when you went to boot camp?
I was 19.
Okay, so you were still younger, going in, did your time, and then you got out. How long did it take? Because I was kind of looking over my notes here. If I can
Yeah.
slide back up pages here, I was looking at my note one. Oh, I'm gonna take deep breaths, folks, for my internet, which I do not understand what is going on. We're gonna try one thing here, see if this helps. I Oh, we're gonna take deep breaths. Woosah, woosah, woosah. That I do not know
It's the
what is
joys of
going on here.
technology.
Yeah, well, it's been perfectly fine, and I love it. It says try unplugging and plugging in your router or moving closer. I'm like the Eros net thing is like 10 feet away from me right now, and nothing else in my house is giving me. But moving on, so in our
Dang. I'm hopefully going to catch up with you when you come back here.
time, and
There
I
we are.
wish you, Jason, it's never like.
No, it's all good.
Anything. Let me try one other thing here. Anybody
I hear you
know how to
sometimes, but video
clear
isn't.
cookies out of a clear? This is how. Look, this is what happens when you do a live show.
Oh, I know.
Clear.
We run in the same thing every once in a while when we were doing our.
Um, I tell people all the time, like, you want to know what can you handle a stressful situation? Go ahead and do a live show every Wednesday. Uh, how to clear Chrome and do a live show every Wednesday where you just don't know what's going to happen. So let's see. It says
That's
go
what part.
to.
That's the part that makes it fun, though.
It is. It's as fun as a
Right? You
shark
always
stick in
know
the
it's
eye.
going to be a little bit boring, so I'm good with having to adjust.
I got listen, Semper Gumby. Uh, I
Yeah,
know, I know you know that one. Uh, yeah, you just gotta love when you're sitting here and you're like, I can figure this out. I promise that I can. Let's see here. As I'm
so
reading
far
all the
it's more stable.
yeah, because it knows I'm threatening it with clearing out its cache. If for some reason when I clear this cache, it kicks us out, I will be right back. Just use the exact same stuff that we have. Uh,
Sure.
so I have no idea what it's going to do as I'm clearing this data. We'll see what happens in a minute if all of a sudden it
Yeah.
kicks us out. But back to what I was saying. So you get out. You're what, about 22, 23 years old when you get out. When do you start getting into the entire computer piece and the computer elements to all this?
Yeah, that's a story in itself. So I got out. I was on medical leave because they did surgery on my shoulder, and then they knew they weren't going to fix it, so I can be back in the Marines and active duty. So put me on medical leave. I was going to get a job with Lockheed Martin because I was working. I was doing some flight simulator work. So I met this guy at one of the clubs on base, and him and I just kind of kicked it off well. And so he told me what he did. And I said, "Hey, I can help you on the flight simulators. It was a F-18 flight simulator." And so I said, "Well, I can help you on it if you give me some free flight time." And so I got to fly the simulator all the time.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
I would work on helping him with configurations and whatnot. So he helped me out to get a job with Lockheed. I was going to get that. Marines couldn't kick me out fast enough. So I lost that job. Um, so yeah, so that was kind of a bummer. But then my wife and I at the time, she was Navy working over at Pearl Harbor side. I was at Kaneohe Bay on the other side of the island. Um, and so we ended up moving to the Bay Area. She got orders and we got transferred out in Mountain View, California.
Okay.
So Silicon Valley. So we were out there, and yeah, we went through some pretty rough times, really, really rough times. I ended up being on welfare, and I have a
Wow.
great admiration for the welfare system. It was extremely helpful for me and my family at the time. But yeah, I was working sales trying to sell thermal printers, and these are like barcode printers for manufacturing. And so
Okay.
I had a random job. It was super weird, but I was trying to sell into HP, and HP said, "Well, we're going to put in this huge order. It would have been the largest order in the history of our company." So, and I was going to be the one that made the sale, which would have been an
Nice.
awesome commission. There was one caveat. So the caveat was they needed a custom serial number generator that would drive the serial numbers for these printers. So they gave
Okay.
us the logic for it and said, if you can write a program that can do it, then we'll do the sale. So our company was a sales company. We had no technology people whatsoever.
Oh.
But to me, that's not an excuse. That's just a challenge. I mean,
Right.
the whole concept of the Marines, adapt and overcome. Don't sit and whine about it. Just do something. So that's what I did. I ended up no program experience, nothing, but I ended up, I had a computer and I knew there was a thing called QBasic and DOS. So you just go to the command line, black and white screen, and you hit QBasic / question mark, and it gives you help. I taught myself how to program off of that, and
Oh
I
wow.
wrote the program in a weekend, and I ended up making the sale with HP. And my boss said, "You're now a programmer. You're not going to do sales anymore. If you can do that, then you're going to be a programmer." And I had no idea what was going on. So, but the thing was, he was kind of cheap, so he wouldn't buy any books. He wouldn't pay for any classes. I just had to kind of learn it. So I ended up being like the IT person for the company. I installed, this definitely tells my age, but I'm 55, so I don't care. But we installed Novell, I installed Windows with floppy disks, to install Office, I think it was like 26 floppy disks.
Oh,
And
wow.
so yeah, it was insane. But I learned how to code that way. And it just went from me doing that very first program, and it just felt like I don't know, like I opened the floodgates and I couldn't get information fast enough. I learned so extremely quick that within 6 months, I was doing some really, really advanced coding. So I ended up working for so many different companies out in the Bay Area and just on different contracts. I did stuff with Palo Alto Research, the guys that invented the mouse and Windows, and they invented those concepts and then sold it to Apple and Microsoft. I mean, I did projects for Apple and for Microsoft directly. I worked with some very high up people there. Yeah, did a lot of different things. It just kind of clicked. So it's kind of interesting, and I did that along with that's just kind of how my brain works. I learn things pretty quick. So learned how to paint cars. I used to race motorcycles. I mean, sky's the limit. I do my own plumbing, do my own electrical framing. I do pretty much everything I need to get done.
Should have been a combat engineer.
Yeah. No, those guys have a target on their back. Screw that. So,
But that's
uh,
that's wild. So I mean, so you actually got to see, some of those early iterations of Silicon Valley as things were really, it wasn't what we think of today,
oh
Silicon
no.
Valley. It was kind of being birthed at the time.
Yeah.
Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, I mean, I worked with Steve Jobs on some stuff. And I mean, I was on a team that he was very, very involved with. And so, yeah, I was kind of there in the beginning of it during the dot-com era.
I mean, so I got to ask you a little, and look, folks, if you're joining us right now, you're watching us live, please give us a like, share, follow. If you want to know more about what Jason's got going on, it's tarvent.com, TARVENT.com. You can check out his website, see what he's got happening, and make sure you're sharing this around with everyone. So, how to, I mean, I got to ask you a little bit about Jobs for a second. You see stuff on him, and he seems like the early Steve Jobs. I don't have a better way of putting it other than he was gross. Do you know what I mean? Like not considered as like super hygienic. Let me, like not spit and polish like the ending Steve Jobs. Is, are they getting that right in the media when they show him, or is that just something I see?
No, that was kind of everybody. I mean, you worked a ton of hours. So it was just, you're just going a mile a minute. So yeah, a lot of people were kind of gross. It was just, that wasn't what was important back then. What was important is getting code done. Back in the day, it was a lot of smoke and mirrors. You were faking it in front of investors. You were doing everything you could to try to make the sale. And then you're just sweating bullets afterwards trying to hope and pray that you can get what you promised to actually happen. So yeah, it was
Wow.
kind of stressful, but for me that was like the best. I mean, it
You
was
were
just
you were early gunslinger. I mean, you sound like you were one of the early gunslingers in that industry.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't part of. I don't want to make it sound like I'm this big prominent person in the Silicon Valley days. I was just, I was a programmer, but I was involved in a lot of different things. And yeah, we were kind of the gunslingers. It was kind of shoot from the hip and pray you get it, and if you don't, just fake it, fake it till you make it type thing.
Well, I imagine, I mean, with that type of background and picking up that kind of knowledge, I mean, the Marine Corps thing is interesting in business, and we can talk about that on the side. But I mean, you had that type of drive, and people could see that drive from you. I imagine, a lot of people are like, dude, Jason, come on, work in this project, work in that project. Was it a lot of, it might sound like an odd question, but was it a lot of 1099 work, or were you actually
Oh
working
yeah.
for a lot of these companies?
Oh no, it was all 1099 stuff. I was
That
working for a printer company, but I kept getting picked up for all these projects that had nothing to do with printers. I mean, I was working with Xerox on their manufacturing. I built some integration stuff to work with their robotic systems to move parts around. So even though I was working for a printer company or a printer sales company, I mean, they were just manufacturer reps. I was the only programmer, and I was doing tons and tons of different things. Had nothing to do with that company, but I
that's
made that
wild.
company a lot of money. And I mean, my boss sat me down. It was like, I got 5 houses for you to pick from. You pick one and it's yours free of cost in the
No
Bay
shit.
Area. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, 2 days later, my wife told me she had taken orders to Minnesota and didn't tell me until it was too late. So
Did you tell
now
her
my
I'll see you when you
ex-wife,
get
I
back?
will make sure that's clarified. But yeah, so we ended up moving to Minnesota after that.
Oh, that would have been one of those conversations of like, look, I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
You could be
I had two
there.
kids. So,
Oh, never mind then. Damn it.
yep. Had
I,
2
I mean,
kids, but
I mean, well, I've watched a lot of like senior master sergeants, master guns where they were like, look, I mean, I've got to go to Cali. My wife is gonna stay here, and then we'll see you. I'll see you when I get back, or I'll make trips back. But
yeah,
now the most important question I can ask in this entire conversation: what was it like being a male dependent on base?
I wasn't on base. I
You
mean,
were
it was
never on a
Navy
base,
base. I didn't
but
have any
still.
interest. Yeah, I was never there. I was always so busy doing my own thing. I never went on base. Plus, I was a
Ah,
Marine on a Navy base. It doesn't matter if you're a dependent or not. As soon as they find out you're a Marine, you don't get messed with on a Navy base. I don't care how many Navy guys are watching right now. You know that's how it is on a Navy. They're always the ones that get off the sidewalk to move around the Marine.
I just was
So
hoping that like there's that Vet TV. Have you ever watched any of that?
uh,
There's a channel called Vet TV. It's like Apple TV, but for veterans. And there's like a whole thing where like the dude shows up as a dependent and he's absolutely just a hot mess. Like the big sunglasses, everything. So where do we get from basically 1099, working with everybody else, contracting yourself out to all these different companies, doing all these different things to getting into, you know, what eventually will become Tarvin?
yep. Yeah, so I worked once moved to Minnesota. I mean, talk about putting on the brakes. That going from Silicon Valley to Minnesota, technology is drastically different. Culture is drastically different. I mean, it was a major culture shock for me, especially growing up in California. So yeah, out there, kind of bounced around to, well, 3 jobs. In Silicon Valley, you didn't stay at a job for more than 6 to 9 months. If you did, everybody kind of thought you were a little bit broken. I mean, you should be moving on. You should be moving up every 6 to 9 months. You get a
Oh,
project
wow.
done and you move. So then when I moved to Minnesota, they don't do that. Although I kind of did that, just because that was my mentality. So did a couple jobs. I worked for Marvin Windows, great window company, by the way. They don't sponsor us or anything, but they are a good window company.
I put
They
window
were back
treatments on
then.
Marvin windows. I put a lot of window treatments in front of Marvin windows.
There you go. So yeah, so I worked for them, and I worked for a resident or a mortgage conduit company. And the mortgage conduit company. Now, when I was out in the Bay Area, I started doing some AI stuff. So not AI like using Open AI or Claude or some of these other ones. Those are already pre-built. So I was in the middle of. We used a language called Lisp, and it was a really good language because it could generate code at runtime. It was really prominent in the AI world to build neural networks and snaps and all this different stuff. And so I was doing that. Well, then when I went to Minnesota, I was working for this mortgage conduit, and I was helping traders securitize mortgages and manage risk factors and a bunch of stuff to sell it on the stock exchange.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing that. Well, traders kind of got a little freaked out thinking that I was going to take over their job. And so I'm not, Marine Corps mentality. I'm not going to sit and listen to you whine. I'm just going to do what I need to do, get the job done. If you need somebody to take responsibility, I have zero problem taking responsibility, but I'm not going to sit and whine about it. Production is what matters. And so anyway, that was my kind of hardcore mentality, especially when I was younger. I'm still that way, but a little bit nicer about it. Or I think I'm a little smoother about communicating it. But anyway, so I worked for these other companies, kind of made a lot of noise. I made the CEO extremely happy, but a lot of my peers were not so happy because I moved at a different speed. And so I ended up just deciding I built a system back then, and we called it WebOri. Weird name, but a priori is is something that Greek gods had. They were born with knowledge. So, and that was a term called a priori, and at least as far as what I understood it to be. And so I took that, and I took kind of the web, because we were building we built a way, because I hated IT in the corporate world, where they said, okay, if you build anything, you build it. It'll take 2 weeks to build or something. Then you have to go through all this testing and make sure you don't break servers. It would take like 2 months to get that done. Well, that irritated me. So I found out that the rule was, if there's any code changes, then you have to go through regression testing. And so I said, fine, I'm going to make a system where there's no code changes. It's going to be a framework that then business people can build their own applications. They don't have to know technology. And so they could build their own. Well, so I built that. We had a lot of people from Microsoft working for us at the time. So Microsoft got wind of my architecture, and they kind of took my architecture, and Microsoft ended up using it for a product that they had. So I was not too happy about that, because they never asked for permission, even though it wasn't mine, it was the company's. But anyway, so with that, I decided, you know what, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to build an application framework, and we're going to start doing that. And that's what we had started, and it didn't happen. So, we started doing that. We were running out of money, kind of desperate. We got into coding, and we were just doing projects for people, or for different companies. And the company was named iX Factor. And it was just, we used to be called iExchange. That was the original name. And it was like a lowercase I, because in programming terms, there's significance to a lowercase I. But anyway, so we started the company. Well, then there was a company out of Atlanta called iExchange that went bankrupt, and everybody thought we were them. I'm
Oh,
like, "No, that's not us, not even the same industry." But everybody called us IX. So then we just renamed it to IX Factor, and we're doing development, and an agency came to us that we were working with, an ad agency. And they're the ones that said, hey, we're using this other email marketing solution. It's super expensive. Can you build one for us to use that it isn't so expensive? And that's how what Tarvin is today. That's how we got started.
I want
And
I
by
want
the
to go
way,
back.
I was just gonna say Tarvin, the name Tarvin, it's a super weird name, but it's a combination of targeted and event-based marketing. So
Okay.
from targeted and event, it has the vent in it. So that's target event-based marketing. So, we do things based on user behavior and that sort of thing.
I want to kind of go back from an entrepreneurial side for a moment and go back to the
Sure.
iExchange and iExchange. How important was that to Tarvent that you failed with iExchange?
It wasn't real. I mean, the name at the time, we didn't have enough brand we're a small little company, so it wasn't that big a deal.
I was talking more from a learning standpoint, like how did that experience of, hey, I started this one, it didn't work out, and then we moved on to this one. How
Oh,
important was that learning in that?
well, all we did was rebrand. So I didn't start over. It was just more of a rebrand, and all the same employees. We just did the same thing under a different name, basically. So that it was strictly a branding thing. But um, from an entrepreneur's perspective, I learned an enormous amount, especially switching from doing more custom development, where everything was version 1.0. And customers didn't want to pay for testing. They just wanted the application. They're like, oh, we'll test it ourselves. But then they're complaining when there's bugs. So, it was that ongoing battle because customers wanted to save money. Programming is expensive. So, and we understood that. So we tried to do the best we could. But I learned a lot from that. And when we went to building a product and where we actually had a service, it was very different. And so we treated it in the beginning, we treated it more like it was a custom project because you couldn't sign up to use our email service online. It was, we're doing custom development, and hey, by the way, we have this email platform. We can sign you up if you want it. So it was a very different environment compared to what Tarvin is today.
And look, folks, staying with that. For those of you that are on YouTube or watching us on any one of our other pages like Twitch, make sure you're giving this a like, a share, subscribing over there on YouTube. If you have questions, maybe you have a question about your own email campaigns or you've done some email campaigns and you're trying to figure out, well, why isn't it working or what things you could be doing better, go ahead and drop those into the comments. And again, it's tarvent.com, Tarvent. And if you're looking for that 30% off, it's above the bar for 30% off for 3 months. Now, I'm over on your website right now because that's what I do. What makes, like, most of us know who Constant Contact is or Mailchimp. What makes it is Tarvent in that wheelhouse, or how does Tarvent compare to those things that most people know more commonly?
So how we compare? Yes, we're in that space. We're a little bit different than like Constant Contact or Mailchimp. A lot of people compare us to kind of a little bit smaller version because we're newer. So a little bit smaller version of Active Campaign. So Active Campaign, they're more expensive. So Mailchimp is for like really small businesses. They have very basic needs. And since Intuit bought MailChimp, you have to have even more basic needs. They seem to be stripping a lot of functionality out of there. Not exactly sure why, but they had a better product. I think they had a better product than they do once Intuit bought them. But that's their business model. I'm not. I have no idea why they make the decisions that they make. But anyway, so MailChimp and Constant Contact are typically for smaller companies. Constant Contact is really if you're going to do events and you want to sell tickets and do that sort of thing, you can do that through Constant Contact. And that's kind of what they're known for. Our system is more in line with like an Active Campaign where we focus quite heavily on automation. So with automation, it's you could do like site tracking. So if somebody watches your YouTube video and they click out to your website, well, or let's say you send them an email and they click out to your website, you can start tracking them, and then our system can listen to what pages they're on, and you could pop up a little note on a web page that they're on at that time, so a real time message, or you can fire off an email, or you can do different things within our system and integrate with other systems, so you can let your CRM system know that hey, they visited your website and they went to these different pages. So there's a lot of
Interesting.
things that we do in regards to automation that like Mailchimp and Constant Contact could never touch, or
Hmm.
not. I mean, they could. They have programmers that know how to do this stuff, so they just don't focus on that.
So what is like your for from a business standpoint, what is your target group like? Where if you said, "Hey, this is the right person for what we're working with."
So our target market, in general terms, our target market is going to be smaller businesses that don't have a lot of time to run marketing. They're focused on running their own business. So they use our system to set up those automations. So each automation is kind of like hiring an employee that never sleeps, never takes vacation, never gets sick. Well, maybe every once in a while we have a bug and he gets sick for a second, but I mean, nobody's perfect. But anyway, so it's for those types of companies that want to automate things and get things set up so it's a kind of a one and done, um, and wants a less expensive solution than like Active Campaign or like Salesforce. Because Salesforce Marketing Cloud, to get the features that we have, you're going to pay 5 grand a month minimum.
Oh, dude, like Salesforce is great if your name is Google or your name is IBM or one of those,
Yep.
or you're in the annual, like, if your annual revenue, I guess and you can tell me if I'm wrong. If your annual revenue is in that like 8 to 10 million, maybe five, Salesforce is great. If you're like every other small business and like you're at like, hey, we did 300,000 this year, we did 900,000 this year.
Yeah.
Salesforce is just, and it's got great features. It's just brutal to
Oh
try to
yeah.
deal
I
with.
mean, you almost have to have a degree just to use the thing because there's so many features. I mean, they've been around a long time. So
Well, that kind of feeds into like, so for yours, like, and listen, folks, we're talking to Jason Johnson. Uh, we're doing our best to not just talk. Well, I'm doing my best to not just talk about Marine Corps shit because that's what I like. Um, but
I got
he is
plenty of
the.
stories.
I love good Marine Corps stories. But he is the CEO and founder of Tarvent.com, email marketing. And again, if you want that 3 months off, it's above the bar for 30% off for the next 3 months. So that kind of feeds into it. Like for your business, have you guys run into that person where they're like, "I want to use your service," and you're like, "No, you don't." Like we're going to offer you things that you don't need. Have you run into that yet, or that
Oh yeah.
conversation?
Well, not necessarily that we offer things you don't need, because no matter how small you are, you're going to grow into the features. So, if your business is growing, you're going to naturally need these additional features. And that is one thing different about our solution. So many of our competitors, like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp, pretty much everybody you name, they have tiered pricing. So, you get in at the silver, gold, platinum tier, whatever the tiers are. And depending on the tier, you have gated features. So, depending on the tier, you'll get more or less features. I know from a technology perspective, it does not cost much more for me to support those features. There's no additional cost on the backside to let you do certain things. So to me, because of small business, maybe because of the fact that, like I said, I was on welfare and I know how stressful it is when you can't afford things that you need. We got rid of that. So we have one
That's
plan.
awesome.
It's What's that?
I said that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, our plan's called the Everything Plan. I'm not going to come up with some stupid name. It's just very literal. It's the Everything Plan. I mean, I'm a technology guy. I'm not a creative marketing guy. So, I'm going to come up with just a very literal name. And that's what we called it. So, I mean, you get charged based on the number of contacts you have, but that's it.
But absolutely. Oh, listen, it got me for a second. I thought we
Yeah,
were
I know.
good. It got me
It
for a
froze on your
second.
face laughing. So at least it froze with
At least it
with a good laughing face.
froze at a good time. But my email, my and you motherfucker, stop. You know what the worst part is right now, Jason? You know what the absolute worst part is? I'm looking up at the corner for my Wi-Fi right now, and it's at full bars. It is
Of
absolutely
course.
humming. It's absolutely humming. It's on the website, so I'm blaming the website this time. But
That's what I
she
do.
run. I've actually have one person that runs campaigns and my SMS campaigns, and I have somebody else who's an absolute ninja that runs my SEO and my website stuff. Now, for something like this, can you integrate the two of them together, or is it strictly, hey, we're focused on that email regular contact side to this?
Yeah, I mean, you can integrate. There's tons of integrations you can do. So we focus on the email side right now. We're looking at
That's what I
adding
was.
in SMS. I've really held off on it because SMS is really, really expensive, and the rules are becoming much stricter on the permission based side. So if you don't follow the rules on that, you can get fined a huge amount of money. And people don't follow rules on email, let alone SMS, other than that it costs so much more. But anyway, so we kind of look at SMS as, like SMS is kind of like yelling across the street, where email is like sitting down for coffee. So SMS gets attention fast, but email is where you build relationships. And so that's the whole email world. But SMS definitely has its place. in our system, you can integrate all those together.
So that's gonna. I gotta ask this question before we get close to closing the bar. And again, folks, if you're interested in what Jason has going on, you can definitely. And Nate, I know, right? We don't have a paranormal guest. Normally, we have paranormal guests like Ghostbusters and stuff like that on. I have all kinds of issues, uh, but that goes back to the first thing I kind of said as we opened this, which was, how do you get someone to open an email? I guess I get so many emails that when I see them initially, I'm like, junk, 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 unsubscribe. How the hell did you even get my email address? And
Yep.
I'm moving on. How do you keep that from somebody just thinking it's another bullshit email?
Well, I mean, the standard answer is that if you're looking to get more opens, you have a better subject line. That's the first thing you have to do, because the subject line dictates if you're going to open the email or not. So that would be the first thing. But I take it a step further and I go back to the source of the issue, because again, being a programmer, we think back all the way to the root of time, it seems like. But anyway, so it's when you get that contact, you need permission, number one. So our system, you cannot use our system to do cold emailing. But you get permission. If you got permission, that means they wanted to get information. Now you just need to make sure you don't bombard them with too much information. And that's where automations come in. So with automations, you're going to, you're only sending them email based on their activity. So then it's going to be more, it's going to be more inviting and there's going to be more curiosity for them because the timing is so much better.
So you bounced and froze the entire time you were talking.
That's awesome.
I was, and
It's like talking to my wife. I mean, I'm talking, but I don't think she
I
hears
don't,
me most of the time.
Jason. I am so like, you have no idea. Like,
You feel me, huh?
I'm like this motherfucking system, so I'm gonna ask one more time, and and hopefully it doesn't do this. So back to well, let me ask it this way, maybe.
Sure.
Like, how do you avoid a headline in an email being clickbait, or should it be clickbait? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that's a balancing act. It really depends on your customers. So I would say don't do clickbait. If you need to back your subject line up with content. So if your subject line is great, but then you follow it with nothing. I mean, on all the different sites, they'll show a picture of one thing. You're like, oh, I want to find out what more about that picture. And it's just a stupid clickbait picture. It has nothing to do with the article. Well, that's just going to frustrate people, and that's where you get the unsubscribe. Emails are all
100%.
about building relationship, so you just got to think about that. But yeah, so a good subject line, and then making sure that if you got their permission, don't abuse it. You don't want a friend calling you every 2 minutes because you gave them your phone number. So you want to do the same thing. Call your friend when it's important, but don't just send them email to send them email. That doesn't do any good.
Listen, you have no idea how much I appreciate that, because I I work so hard with my email campaigns, because I'm like, I got something for you. And every time I get that person, be like, why? Why did you unsubscribe? Like, what was the reason? Because I want to know. Do you ever do
Hmm.
that? Like, is that a thing? Like, because if someone's unsubscribed from an email, and I know sometimes when you do the unsubscribe, they give you like that excuse me, oh, too many emails, too many this,
Right.
whatever. But is there a way to kind of, because most of those, when I'm like, I don't want it. Like, I'm just like, I've already told you unsubscribe, so I'm already annoyed with you. Do you ever do like a follow up to the person who did open the email and say, hey, what was it about this email that made you open it?
Well, yeah, you can. I mean, once they unsubscribe, you definitely don't want to follow up with them again. It's like, the people that you opt out and then they send you an opt out confirmation. It's like, why? Why do you do that? Yeah, I
Right.
mean, we support it, but whatever. So yeah, you want to ask, and that's where we have surveys built into our system. So, periodically you check in with your customers, ask a few questions with a survey, and learn information. Don't ask them 20 questions at once. Nobody's going to answer it, especially in the TikTok age of today. Nobody has the attention span for that. But if you ask
Amazing.
1, 2, 3 questions and you ask that periodically, you're going to find out information. But yeah, you have to, because even if they give you an answer, they may not give you an honest answer. So me, I will tell you right now, I'm about as honest as they come. I have some personal reasons for that with some fun people in the past, but I am a very, very honest person. So that's one thing. You'll always get an honest answer from me, but a lot of people don't. They just give a little stupid, oh, well, I'm just busy and don't want the email. That's not helpful.
As a small
So
business owner, I respect that completely. Well, real quick here, folks, it's at New Scotland Spirits last call. Raise your standards and your glass with New Scotland Spirits. Born in the heart of upstate New York, our whiskey is crafted for local grain, pure passion, and a mix of authentic flavors. This isn't mass Martland Spirits.com to visit new spot. Yeah, fucking, I am having a night tonight. Visit New Scotland Spirits meets hustle. New Scotland Spirits and fucking smoke. Uh, uh, can you like? I am so fucking fed up with this computer right now.
that's the joys. Well, you're just talking. Well, you're probably
Fed
not
up.
there now.
Jason, can you hear me?
Now I can. And
Oh my. Can Jason? Jason, can you hear me?
I heard Jason. It's like now your
No
video.
idea what's going on with my system. It is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I am just trying to smile through the entire thing. Hi, Jason. Can you
Hey,
hear me?
we're
Hi.
back.
I'm fucking. This is ridiculous right now. I'm
I know
telling you
you
right
kind of
now.
wish you had those spirits, don't you?
Oh, I have a bottle sitting right next to me. I'm actually logging into Amazon at this very minute as we're speaking, and I'm ordering the new Eero Pro 7. So that I don't, and they're not paying for any of this because I'm not dealing with this bullshit, and I don't want to deal with it. I just can't. I cannot mentally deal with it, and I'm doing
Yeah.
my best to smile. So listen, motherfuckers, buy some New Scotland Spirits because at this point my ad didn't do shit for anyone. It's good bourbon, it's good whiskey. I can't help the fact that my boy who owns the company was a army officer. Sorry about his luck, but at least he was airborne, so he jumped out of planes. So I'll give him that. So go buy his whiskey. Go buy some New Scotland. I'm fed up with this shit today. And Jason has been an amazing guest because he smiled and laughed through the entire thing. You have no idea how much I want to do a Gunnery Sergeant Murphy in a moment here, Jason. You have no idea.
Oh no, I can imagine. I totally get where you're coming from.
This
I'm
is
not
like
on your side, so it's a little bit easier for me, but
uh,
I totally get it.
this is like episode 294, and like I've maybe had to deal with this like one or two other times. Nothing like this. So I'm just
Probably after 295, then it'll be totally good.
it'll be fine. It'll be perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Yep.
So I just what? I'm going with the fact that maybe my Eero system is older. It's just not picking up as well. My wife was like, and we've made a left turn here, folks. My wife was like, well, maybe it's the MacBook. I bought this MacBook like, like I think this MacBook's like maybe 2 or 3 years old. Yeah, like where's it at? Uh, I don't even know. Like, how do you find out? It's like somewhere on here tells me how old my MacBook is, which I have no idea what the age of it is. But it's like, there's no way.
No, I don't think it's your MacBook. It could just be the
App.
website.
Just smiling away. Yo, leave.
Kind of back. Nope.
Here.
Oh, now you dropped completely. So I'm on by myself. I don't know if I'm streaming live or not, but if I am, hopefully you guys have some questions on email that we can help with. As we can answer any questions you have, just reach out to Tarvin and we can answer all your questions, mainly from strategy to how you can sign up or anything in between.
We're gonna try this one more time.
Hey, there you are.
And see if this is any better. Because I'm just, folks, this again, I'm gonna tell you, this is live. This is what live looks like. This is how live will get.
Kind of feel like your beard might have gotten a little bit whiter there.
Might be graying up just a hair bit.
Yeah. It's the joys of
And see, this
stress.
is the things like Nate's over here talking about it's not even paranormal guest. This is my cousin Kathy, who I love you very much, dear. And I hope everything keeps going the way it should. And my cousin Kathy, way out in Tennessee, but she's in Tennessee. Like they don't even have internet in Tennessee. Like I don't think they have technology.
I was
Like there's
stationed out there for a little bit.
oh at
Millington.
Millington. See, I was pre-Millington. I was I lat moved into avionics after my first 4. So I was in
Okay.
Pensacola. Pensacola is beautiful, dude. Have you ever been to Pensacola?
Nope, I haven't been there.
It's worth it just for a vacation because it is a vacation spot also.
Hmm.
So we're gonna try to get back on track. So back to what I was saying. This whole episode just me saying "woosah," to not act like an asshole on here. All the times I was frozen, I was f-bombing this entire thing. So who knows if it recorded any of that? I was just f-bombing the entire thing. So back to what I was saying here. So if somebody want to start us from this, I want to contact you. I want to get my email campaign started. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Just go to tarvin.com. And you can go to tarvin.com. You can sign up for a free trial. We don't ask for credit card information because I think that's annoying. So you sign up for a trial. You can reach out to our support, and you can ask whatever questions you need to ask. We help with questions on our web or about the product, or if you have strategy questions, or if you have questions about, why I part my hair the way I part it. I don't care. You can ask us whatever questions you want.
Dude, there's no part in your hair.
I know. Well,
There's not.
it's kind. I know because there's barely any hair left, but
Maybe your Wi-Fi was dropping out also and stressing the shit out of you. Like, man,
yep.
I love doing a live show.
No, that's only a software company. That's what'll do that. So,
I can't even imagine. I know what I do and what I deal with. I can't imagine with a software company what some of the headaches are like. So, well, let me ask this question as we're getting to the end. And I love talking to other entrepreneurs. I think it's, people can talk about this is the backbone, that's the backbone. Entrepreneurs, small businesses employ more people as a group of us than anything in the country. You can say that Walmart is the largest employer in the United States. The federal government is the largest employer in the United States. As a single entity, yes, they are. But if you were to take all small businesses and group us together, we employ more people than any of those assholes put together.
yep.
What are some of the things that you would tell someone that if they're looking to step out into that small business space?
That's interesting you ask, because my youngest son is doing that right now.
Oh,
And the thing I tell him and anybody else going into a small business Don't start a small business because you have an idea. Start a small business because you've identified a problem that you and probably others have that you have a great solution for. So fix a problem. Don't just come up with a new idea. That will, I mean, that piece of advice helped me out a ton.
Say it one fucking say it one more
All
time.
right.
Say it one more
So my
fucking time.
advice is I wish I could just fake it, fake like I'm stuttering or, blocking just to annoy you. But no, so my advice is just don't start a business because you have an idea. Start a business because you've identified a problem and you have a great solution to that problem. Because if you have a problem, there's going to be a ton of other people that have the same problem. And so you come up with a solution for that is a great idea. Find a gap. A gap is kind of a problem, a gap in what everybody else around you offers. So that's kind of my advice. Other than that, just be ready to work an ungodly number of hours. It's not the easy way. Being an employee of a company, that's the easy way. Starting a small business, you got to have a little bit of hate for yourself because you're going to put yourself through a lot of misery and a lot of excitement and everything in the middle. But yeah, I would never change how I did things. Well, I would change how I did things, but I would never not start my own business. I had
I,
my first business at 15. So
I saw that in my notes. We didn't even get to that. I mean, look, folks, as another from entrepreneur to entrepreneur, you're 100% correct. Find how you can solve problems, and you would be amazed. I actually told my 8-year-old today. He was like talking about stuff. I said, "Look, bud, there's money in everything. It's
yeah,
just a matter of like, are you the only person that does? Like, is there 30 people that do what you want to do? And it's very limited to how hard it is to get to the top and make all the money." Or did you go into something where there's 10,000 people and they all make really good money? You
yeah.
just got to figure out what it is and where you want to be in it. Look, folks, go take your time. If you stuck with us through this entire nightmare of whatever is going on with my internet right now, I have no idea. It started last week, and just so you know, because I love all of you, I just bought a new net system to put in the house
And so you lock up again.
because I am not going to deal with this again. We are next week's motherfucker. We are off next week, so we're going to drop a classic show. We'll see how the AI clips for this look for next week. If they're garbage, I'll figure out something because Jason deserves it all. Um, but when we do come back here in 2 weeks, we are going to have fucker. Weeks. Are you back, Jason?
I am,
Understand?
or not. Maybe I am. We'll see.
If it's any more stable.
Yeah. Maybe.
Can you hear me, Jason?
Yeah. Yeah. I moved to mobile, huh?
Yeah. Oh, this is absolute insanity. Like I have no idea um, what is going on here to the point that like I can't even. So it was just easier just jump on my phone and that way I
Yeah.
can finish this off and be respectful as an adult, and I don't have to make a bunch of excuses about what the hell's going on. Now it's weird. Now you just blinked out for a second, and I'm not even on there.
That's weird.
It absolutely is. So
Yeah. I'm
again,
watching my internet connection the whole time just to make sure I've got bandwidth on my side. Everything's looking good. So
yeah,
maybe it is the website.
it could be. Like I'm. uh, so we're gonna live with this for a moment, and it was much easier just to jump over here, but we got Mr. Kerwin coming on in 2 weeks. He is a local guy here in the Albany area. Started a couple different business, but his newest one is actually right in your wheelhouse. It's AI related, so it's a AI service, and I think one of the things we will probably be doing a fair amount of conversation with is going to be some of these AI videos that we're seeing. Like I've fallen into the hole with the Bigfoot videos. Friends of mine like the little old people talking dirty at the nursing home videos, but it's an entire thing now with all these different videos and AI imaging. And how do we start to figure out what's real? And I want to definitely probably get his opinion on Denmark. I don't know if you saw the thing in Denmark where they've now said that every citizen in Denmark owns their likeness. It is a legal right. Like we have the freedom of speech and all those things in Denmark. They now have the equivalent of you own your likeness. So if somebody uses your likeness in a deep fake situation, uh, that you have the right to sue because it's your personal intellectual property. Well, hello, Miss Rita. Good to see you. So
Yeah,
we're
those
gonna
are
be
some good people over there. Met a lot of people from Denmark last year when I was in Europe, and there's some good people out there.
yeah, they've got an interesting approach to it. So I really I definitely dig
Yeah.
it. So hopefully this is gonna work out here in a minute when we end this because I want to talk to you for a minute. So hopefully because I don't do it on my phone very often now that the technology. So don't log off on me because I do want to talk for a couple minutes afterwards. Now, oh, what is that? Did that? See, this is why I say I don't never use the phone. Uh, what did it say? New streaming or looking to level up? Check out StreamYard and to get $10. See, it sent a $10 discount to people. Bro, I feel like such a turd right now. Like you have no idea. Like I feel like Joe shit the rag man, and it does. Like I don't know what's going on. Like yours keeps blinking out every so
That's
often.
weird.
So
I
it's got to be something on their end. Then that's the only thing I can figure. So, all that being said, is this is episode like 294, 295, whatever it ends up being. As we do on every episode, the guest always gets the final word. So, Jason, what is the final word for tonight?
Final word is the show must always go on. Even if you have internet connection issues, you just keep plugging forward, plugging away, and make things happen. Don't sit and whine about it. Just deal with it and make the best of every situation. But with that, I really hope people, if you're not doing email marketing, do it. Whether you're using us or somebody else, I don't care. Just do email marketing. It's one of the most. It is the most effective means of marketing out there. It's not going away. It's a very, very big industry, and so hope you guys enjoy using email marketing and reach out to us with whatever questions you might have.
Alrighty, folks, be sure to push your stool in.
This has been a Second Front podcast presentation found on Apple, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found.